Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about the concept of finding purpose in your creative endeavors. And while this could be like a really heady topic and something that we could go really deep into, I do want to keep it a little bit more surface level because honestly, everybody's journey is a little bit different. And I don't want to try to box somebody into an idea that this is the way that it's supposed to happen, you know? And honestly, I feel that finding purpose is something that takes a very long time, if not your entire life. And it's a little cliche, but I think that it's true. It's not that you can just sit down and think really hard and you can understand what you're going to do for the rest of your life. It's something that you learn and you grow and you evolve as time goes by. And I think that it's really important and honestly really valuable and beautiful that you treat it like a journey instead of a destination. Like, I guess if I were to think about it, my purpose, and I've talked about this a little bit in the past with like the affirmations and some of the other things where it's just like my purpose is to be not the center of a community, but be a facilitator of other people, where I want to help other people grow. And through that, I can both learn and I can grow as well. There's a really wonderful quote from Jerry Holkins, who is the writer for Penny Arcade. They were having a lunch a long time ago, and they kind of went around the room and they were just be like, what would you do if you had like one wish? Like, how would you spend that wish if you could do whatever you wanted? And some people said, I'd live in like on the beach, or I would, be wildly successful and stuff. But when it came to Jerry, his wish was to help fulfill everybody else's wish. Like his goal is to make people happy and to watch them grow and succeed. And that is how he finds success. And that like resonated with me in a really significant way, where I really just want to help other people succeed because that makes me feel like I've succeeded. Where I'm not necessarily hung up on trying to get like $1 million or anything like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like it just depends on your personality more than anything else. But just the ability of wanting to help other people succeed. That's really what I feel anyway is my purpose in life. And I want to go out and help other people get there. But that didn't really happen overnight. That's not something that I just kind of woke up and realized. Although it was kind of a wake up call when I saw Jerry say that, or when I heard Jerry say that, because I was like, oh yeah, that's a lot like me, I guess. And, but it's not something that I really thought about. It's just something that I just kept pursuing. And eventually that's where we ended up. And I think that just being persistent and chasing the things that interest you really can get you a long way when it comes to this kind of stuff, because what I was doing is essentially what I felt like I would be doing anyway. I was making music, I was working on programming and games, and just trying to move forward and grow in different ways just to see what hooked me into it. And I think that really brought things a long way for me, where I was able to kind of figure out what worked well and what didn't, and how I could grow. And eventually, like I started streaming, because I was doing music, and why not stream when you do music so you can help teach others? And that started to form a little community, and that community moved to Discord, and that community started growing because we did the 2-hour album challenge. We started doing the game development jams. We started doing all of these community events, and I'm really proud of the Discord community and the Patreon community and the Twitter community, that like the people that follow me and that are interested in the things that I do. And again, I am by no means famous. I'm like a D-list YouTuber at best. And I think that it's just really valuable for me to be a place where people can go and know that they will be surrounded by other people who are interested in learning and growing as well. And I think that it's really valuable to have that, that community for me. But again, that's me. Like I don't feel like it's necessary to be famous, but I know that for some people being famous is like a goal. And I think that kind of growing into that is something that is important. Like if you feel like, oh, I'm going to be famous, and then you're not, then you're just like, oh, well then, this isn't working. And then you quit. And it's like, it's very similar to setting goals, I guess, in some ways, where it's just like, you have to make sure that you have something attainable, but you also want to make sure it's something to strive for. Where it's just like, if I was just like, my purpose is to make $1 billion, and it's like, well, that's probably not going to happen. So then you get like discouraged and you just end up not doing anything, and that sucks. But if it's, I wanted to be sustainably, like I want to live sustainably, my purpose is to be sustainable, like have solar panels and like the water recyclers and stuff. And that's completely doable. And that's something that you can grow into. And I think that, I don't know, I just end up talking about myself, I guess. That's my point. The whole point of this episode wasn't to talk about myself, but to just like help better understand the process of finding purpose. And it's not easy, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time, and you might not find it right away. It might take you 10 years. Like I've been writing music for over 20 years now, and I'm just now kind of realizing what I'm kind of meant to do with my purpose and my drive, and like how I want to express myself. And it takes time, and in another 5 years that might also change. I might be I might be doing something else. Like my purpose might be to make games, and the community will still be there, but it'll be something that's like self-sustaining, and I'm just kind of a part of it. And that's okay. Anyway, I kind of went off the rails a little bit, but hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Be remarkable.